And welcome back to Propped by the Bar, coming from Club Chin Chin.
How good is this? Up behind
great.
the glass, you can see the city up there, the ground down there. It's the best spot in the house. It's awesome.
Are you hiding from somebody?
Yeah, what do you mean?
You look like you're in disguise. I feel like I'm here with Tom Selleck or something.
No, you know, it's final weeks, it's finals week, and I want to, you watch Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso,
I'm going with Ted Lasso look.
You're driving a bit of his energy, channeling his
just channeling
energy.
the Ted Lasso look. I'm living the Ted Lasso way.
As we sit here at the Cats and we're into another preliminary final, I don't know how they keep doing it without bottoming out. And we are here down at the Cats because we're about to interview our guest for this episode, which is the COO of the Cats, Simon Kelleher. And we're going to talk all things Chin Chin, or Club Chin Chin, and Cats.
Well, Simon, I reckon, is the secret ingredient of the Geelong Cats. He's a ripping bloke.
Yeah.
And, he's come in from Carlton, and he's done a lot of things here while he's been here, and certainly a lot of people outside the club and inside the club both credit the club's success through COVID to Simon. So he comes to us as a knowledgeable guy, but also a ripping bloke. Played a bit of footy with him, and he's not too bad. So it'd be good to have him in the studio. But how good is it here at Chin Chin? It's awesome.
Fantastic.
Best spot in the house.
So make sure you get along to Club Chin Chin. So, market.
Well, we're getting into that spring, aren't we now? And we said as we come into spring that stock would come onto the market, and stock has come onto the market. We've had a surge in the number of properties on the market and come to auction over the last couple of weeks. But what's actually starting to happen is demand isn't keeping up. So we've actually had a drop down in clearance rates. So clearance rates have dropped back to 60% last weekend from close to 70 or 68% the week before. Yeah. So what's happened is the supply's come on, the demand hasn't quite kept up. I expect the demand was always going to be sluggish off the supply because it's coming off such a slow period. So I suspect that demand will start to catch up slower over the next little while. What do you think?
No, I tend to agree. I think you're only dealing with a certain pool of buyers at the moment, and that's not changing because more stock's on the market. So no, I tend to agree, and nothing's going to happen rate-wise as well.
There's been price growth in what's sold. So the stuff that's sold has shown good price growth, or okay price growth. So it's not like things are going backwards. It's just that we've just got a lot of supply coming on at the same time, which we anticipated, and we're still getting a bit of cold weather.
Yeah,
plays into it. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was supposed to be spring. Who knows? Someone's got to tell the bloke upstairs. There's still issues out in the estates, which is always. So we've got a lack of land really because the estates haven't got supply. They're dealing with old stock that's priced too high, and so it's pretty hard to go out and buy and build in the estates at the moment. So what we've got what's coming to Geelong, I believe, is a period where you're going to have not enough supply eventually, but we're going to get through this period now, and we can't build anymore. We're struggling to get powers out of the ground. We're struggling to build developments because of our planning regulations. I think the demand's just going to keep building and building and building and building.
Yeah, but
over the next couple of years.
Again, I don't want over the years we've had a bit of a gripe, state government, with this. If we're talking about a shortage of land being cut up or proved.
Yeah, well, you've got things like the Creamery Road Precinct Structure Plan. It's just been released last Monday. It's really interesting because the standard average rate per hectare for the development contributions that the developers have to pay for the infrastructure for that estate is, in Armstrong's Creek, it was around $300,000 per hectare. Right. Now, this is the money that a developer has to pay to develop that area back to the government, for the government to then use to build the parks and buy the land that's going to be the schools and things like that. Right. So it's inside the PSP, and a rate per hectare. It's a budget that's developed for the developers that pay back to build the other infrastructure while they sell their land. Now that development contribution levy in the Creamery Road precinct is now being set at $1.6 million per hectare.
Jeez.
That's 5 or 6 times higher than the next highest PSP infrastructure development contribution plan. Now what that means is it's now not feasible for a developer to develop that Creamery Road PSP if that continues to be the case. So the government has to work on these planning regulations. Now the most of the cost in that development contribution plan has come from the extra requirements from the environmental side of things and the extra requirements that they're wanting the developers to put into these estates. So I think that we've just set the bar very, very high for what we want in these estates, and it's becoming unfeasible.
Yeah, so there's struggles there. So the alternative for affordable housing, so to speak, would be density living.
Correct.
Now,
but then you've got the Geelong Central Framework Plan.
Correct.
And we haven't had a single developer been able to stack up a development inside the Geelong
which is what we've been warning prior to that being released.
Yeah.
So it's twofold. You've got your state government in Victoria
Correct.
that aren't taking New South Wales lead in, forcing employees back into the office. So the CBDs are dead.
Correct.
Yet the only way to really fix that, if you're not going to send people back into the office, is to get more living within central Geelong, to get more vibrancy, more...
Yeah.
And, right? Well, and again, the one mechanism developers had at their disposal, they've taken away.
They've taken away that, yeah. But, if you talk about office for a minute, there's 25,000 square metres of available office space at the moment inside the Geelong CBD. That's 2.5 hectares of space available. At the start of the pandemic, if we're going back and we're saying the market's back to where the pre-pandemic, and the pandemic was just a blop in the middle, and we're going back to, the whole economy is going back to where it was before it started. That's what everybody's saying now. Well, if that's the case, we've got 5,000 square metres more vacant office that we're starting with now than we did in 2019 when we had only 20,000, and we still don't have the fundamentals to make that office space work, because we're building more A-grade office space, so we're leaving all this B-grade space behind. We can't really convert this space to residential, that doesn't really work, but at the same time, we don't have enough car parking in the CBD to allow these offices, which is really the missing piece. We don't have enough car parking.
But we've got a really good transport system that alleviates that problem.
What transport system?
So I did read a little article on the Geelong Weekly Times. A valuer,
I've taken a
prominent
stand.
valuer in Geelong's taken a stance about Market Square.
I have taken a stand. I've decided, Mike,
What's your beef?
it's enough to sit on this show and tell people what we think. I'm putting my foot down. I've had enough. No, what happened? On this show, we said to Trent Sullivan, our mayor, that we've got a lot of respect for, and Trent came in very nicely. Came in, had a great interview with Trent and
Mayor Sully,
and Mayor Sully promised us he would go to Singapore and knock on the door of the people that own Market Square and try and get them to, think about what they're going to do with their building to help the rest of the Geelong, because it is the keystone to making Geelong work. Now, he did that. Not only did he do that, he took over our CEO, Ali Wasty, and so that's two public servants on our money, with our cost of our flights, have gone over there. They've had a pre-arranged meeting. They get to that meeting, and these people give them the cold shoulder, don't even bother turning up to the meeting. It's in their own building. They didn't even bother turning up. So that's taxpayer money. Now, that is disrespect at the highest level. And it's not just disrespect to Trent, and it's not just disrespect to Ali, it's disrespect to every single citizen in this town, because those people went there with the office of mayor and the office of the CEO of the city of Greater Geelong, and they disrespected us. And so now it's time that we just went nuclear. Let's use the powers that the government have.
Not in the general sense, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go and get. I'm livid. I'm really angry because they have just disrespected all of us. But what we've got to do is use the powers that we have within the relevant acts to go out and compulsory acquire Market Square. Compulsory acquire it. We can use it for a public use, which will give us the ability to compulsory acquire it. We can knock it over, put a big square there like the Fed Square is in Melbourne. You could put some 3 or 4 levels of underground car parking. Now, what that would do, that would alleviate all the pressure on all that office space that's available and activate that space, because the biggest reason people can't tenant those big spaces, which you and I know well, is the fact that they can't get any parking for their employees. So if there was 3 or 4 levels of parking, say 1,000 parks underground, and you had a federal square, that could be the city heart for Geelong. That could be our heart. We could have a big screen there where we could all go and watch Geelong play the grand final in 2 weeks' time if we had it. Like, it could be the place where we have a cultural precinct. We could have our local, different cultures doing different sorts of arts and presentations at that place. It could be a central place for Geelong. It could be our city heart, and I believe it's the most crucial thing this town needs. And so I'm advocating for it. I'm going hard. I've got petition up on change.org that I'd like you all to have a look at and subscribe to. There's going to be a subscribe thing down here, so I'd really like for everybody to look at that petition and support it if we could, and we'll try and see what we can do with it. But people have got to have a voice, Mike. It's time to have a voice.
They do. And it's one thing to criticise, but you're trying to come up with a solution as well. And whilst I'm sympathetic, I know there's some businesses in Market Square still operating, but in terms of what it's doing to the heart of the CBD, something needs to change.
Under the Compensation of Land Act, even those businesses within there would be compensated. So they could then pick up their business and move to another tenancy, probably somewhere even better, with more foot traffic, and maybe flourish even better.
But if you've got more people coming into the city,
if you had events, maybe if you had events in there, like maybe you have this square like a Fed Square, and you had different cultural events every second weekend. Markets and stuff like that, and people could come in and have a place and a reason to come into town, and you'd activate all those strips around it. You connect it to the convention centre, you connect it to the entertainment precinct, to the hospitality precinct, and you connect it the whole CBD back together. That's what we need. We need the city heart.
Put your valuer's cap on.
Yep.
How much? What's it going to cost to acquire?
Look, the land alone, I think it's got to be, and I don't think you'd add much to the building, to be honest. If it's got no tenancies in it, it probably is more of an encumbrance than an added value, I believe. But somewhere between 90 and 100 million to acquire it. And then I think we probably need another 100 million to build what I'm proposing we build. So I reckon it's a $200 to $300 million investment we're asking in Geelong. Not a dissimilar investment than we've had at this park here. And I think that with you considering all the added benefits and the cost benefit that this would have to Geelong, this could be the one thing that changes the entire town's history, going forward. It could be a legacy. It could be something that changes the nature of our town. So I believe that we should be advocating for this.
Okay. Well, why don't we get on to our guest?
Let's get on to Simon.
We're here with our special guest this episode. We're here with Chief Operating Officer Simon Kelleher, and we are in the Chin Chin room at GMHBA. So welcome to Propped.
No, welcome to Club Chin Chin. Thanks for joining us and looking forward to the chat.
Oh, it's going to be a good chat. So the CEO, is that right? Chief Operating Officer?
Correct.
COO, Chief Operating Officer.
Correct.
Well, what do you actually do?
It's a good question. Look, ultimately, here to ensure we have a sustainable operating model for many generations to come. We're 165 years old, and we want our club to be enjoyed by the community and the members and the supporter base for a further 165 years plus. So ultimately it's about generating enough income to underpin and sustain an elite football programs.
And part of what you do is, well, part of what the stadium and your business is really about is a lot of hospitality, isn't it? So, because you've got High Mark and you've got Chin Chin now as well. And how many meals would you serve at this stadium on a game day?
Yeah, north of 3,500 plated meals would be served by our High Mark catering team down. So yeah, you're right. It's not only about delivering an unmistakably Geelong match day experience. It's activating this stadium 365 days of the year through our High Mark vehicle. And pleasingly, we're north of 100,000 guests we've had through here, not on a match day here at High Mark. So north of 650 unique events, from your boardroom lunch to large convention shows that have 5,000 people through the doors over a given weekend. So we're trying to activate this precinct 365 days a year, and Club Chin Chin, which we sit here today, is another layer to that.
So is the club a footy club or a hospitality business?
Certainly football club first and foremost, but the role is, if we can create new non-traditional revenue streams that support the football club ongoing, we'll continue to explore those opportunities and de-risk ourselves from just the traditional revenues that are attached purely to a football game.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like we might talk about like McDonald's, for example. It's a property business, not a franchise food business, and the Cats is becoming a hospitality business around, and you've got a gym as well, and you've got lots of other things to bring in income, and that's to do with the fact that you guys took that ethical choice to get rid of the pokies and all that sort of stuff, isn't it? Yeah,
correct. Yeah. Before my time, our football club board took a position to exit all forms of gaming, and I think we're still the only stadium in Australia that not only as a football club do we not have any sort of gambling revenues, we also have no gambling advertising at our match days. Is something we're really proud of here at the football club.
Brave decision from a revenue perspective.
It is, but with good planning, we thought we could identify some alternative revenue streams. One is the expansion of the hospitality arm within Geelong, but also the investment into 10 South, a health and fitness centre across the road based in Newtown that's going really well.
We are up here in Chin Chin. I want to touch on why Chin Chin and how that come about.
Yeah, obviously really fortunate with the state government investment, $142 million into the new Joel Selwood Stand, and as part of that was a new room which we think is the best room in the stadium. It's got the inward-facing aspect and the outward-facing aspect out over the Geelong CBD, and we wanted to do something special with the room, and why not aim really high and target arguably the most successful restaurant in Australia over the last 10 years in Chin Chin by Chris Lucas and the Lucas Group. Fortuitously, Chris is a Geelong Cats supporter, born and bred in Belmont. And
Belmont High Boy?
Belmont High Boy, and was an opportunity for him to give back to the community and to the football club, which he holds dear to his heart. And it's just been incredible success. It's blown away all our expectations, and we're really grateful for the Geelong community who have supported the first 4 months of trading here.
Yeah.
There's a bit different spin to it too, because you offer it not just the restaurant, but you can actually get a membership where you go, they have the restaurant, then you go watch the footy as well. So you are tying it all in. It's pretty cool.
It is, and I think some people still are yet to appreciate that we're open outside of match days. Yeah, this is open 4 days a week.
Yeah.
It's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. We've got north of 300-400 people on average in here every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. DJs playing. It's an incredible atmosphere in here. And then open for lunches Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
They do a good fare too, because I was here on a weekday and it was packed. I couldn't believe it. I think it was a Wednesday night and it was absolutely packed, so it was real good, real top notch. And you think about all the other restaurants, Mike, that we've talked about around Geelong. We've got the Maestro that was open. We've got this and all the stuff that's happening down in Little Mallup Street. There's quite a bit of food genre coming to Geelong, and this has got to be, I reckon, the top though, isn't it?
Well, it's a recognised brand that has got restaurants in Sydney and Canberra, and probably 8 or 9 different brands in Melbourne. So to have it in Geelong is fantastic.
So your journey, Simon, didn't just start here at Geelong. You've been in football a long time. You're actually what I would say is the quiet success behind Geelong that people don't talk about. You're not well known outside of that because you keep yourself pretty low profile, don't you? But you were previously from Carlton Football Club, weren't you?
Correct. Always had a passion for the game, and to join that with my passion for numbers as well was utopia for me. And so been involved in the AFL system for north of 10 plus years now, and been really fortunate to be here at the Geelong Football Club the last 6 plus years.
And a little birdie told me that you played a good full forward for old Fitzroy in the Ammos, is that right?
Couldn't be further from the truth. I was more of an outside winger.
Outside winger.
Wouldn't have troubled the statistician with the tackle count, that's for sure, in my playing days.
I heard you a bit better than that, but I understated, as we said. So at Carlton, you left there, and I think came across to Geelong at Carlton at the time. I think it's time we had Zach Toohey and other players from Carlton come across. Was there a little bit of a pull in Carlton to come to Geelong? Or?
Yeah, we had Lockie Henderson, Zach Toohey and myself have migrated, and I've been able to convince a few other administration staff to come down the freeway in my time as well.
Yep.
But yeah, love where we are, and it's an incredible organisation to be involved in today.
Excellent. And over the period of COVID, there was a pretty hard period. How did you manage to tell us how the club managed to get through that with memberships and not be able to come to games and things like that? How was that sort of experience for you as the CEO of a big club like this?
Yeah, well, it was incredibly hard for everyone. Particularly right throughout Australia, within Victoria, and first and foremost was all about trying to keep the game going. It was crucial for the game to continue. Particularly with the linkage towards broadcast revenues, but also to provide an outlet for people who are doing it who are doing it far tougher than us. So we had to make some difficult decisions through that COVID period, because we certainly learnt the role the spectator and the member plays in the culture and the importance of the game. The players still reminisce and reflect on how it felt so different and not just the same playing in front of empty stadiums. To the AFL's credit, to the football club credit, banded together, never worked more collegiately through that period to keep the game going and come out the other side and return to playing games of footy.
Because the club's come out of COVID stronger than you went in some respects, and you win, not just the win-loss ratio of on the ground, which is great, that helps everything, but I think also just in the community, but also as a club, I think it just seemed, and the new stadium that's been open, and that just one thing after the other, it seems to have just got some momentum on the way out.
Yeah, obviously you never waste a crisis, and where other organisations, some of the things they were first to cut were their community programs. We saw that as a moment in time we needed to double down. So we didn't dilute or reduce our investment in any of those community programs. We doubled down on them. We continued to nurture that relationship with our members and supporters. We knew how much we meant to them, but how much they mean to us in the future once the community and population reopened up.
There's quite a lot, Mike, that they do. There's the Bio Cats, Kempy Read to Play, DJing programs, Next Gen, Footy Cats, Cats Care. There's quite a lot going on.
Yeah, well, that's just a way we can give back for what the community gives us so much. So every opportunity we look to give back. We take that responsibility of being a one-team town really seriously, and we're really grateful for everything the community gives us. So any opportunity we can give back to those in need, we'll take that opportunity.
You did mention we are in the new Joel Selwood Stand. Bit of a process to get it finished.
Yes, but good things happen to those that wait, and we certainly got there, and are really grateful of the Victorian State Government and Kardinia Park Stadium Trust taking capacity to 40,000, and it's exceeded all our expectations in terms of what it's done to transforming the feel of the place, the match day atmosphere.
Much more of an amphitheatre now, isn't it?
It is. It's certainly locked the sound in. The ability to actually introduce and allow away supporters come to the game, I think.
Do we want that, way?
I think it's helpful for the broader atmosphere. We'd love to try.
I say turn the hot water off, make it rough.
But I think the standing room has been a huge success for us here at GMHBA Stadium. There's probably no more popular spot within the stand now, and a lot of the energy's emanating out of that standing room bay, which has become a real iconic spot within the stadium now.
Yeah. And what other opportunities has it presented in terms of membership and?
Amazingly, we've just exceeded 90,000 members for the first time, so it provides them the capacity to come to the game. It's quite restrictive pre the development here. Also, the opportunity to make ticketing and the game just more accessible. That was something we were really excited for. The ability to just reintroduce $30 tickets. So that entry-level product is really accessible now for the community for the next generation of fan, and then the ability to attract new major sporting and musical events to the region. So you would have heard just last week the announcement of the Matildas coming to the region in December, which great. As a football club, we're really supportive of and looking forward to them coming to the town.
Melbourne Renegades still use it, don't they?
They do. So the Melbourne Renegades will continue into the future here, and have got some scheduled games in the back half of December this year as well.
So there was a new commentary box for the cricket built into the stadium, wasn't there, upstairs?
There is. So that's purpose built to attract international cricket here. So hopefully in time we'll have the national team playing here at some point with a new broadcast media studio right behind the bowler's arm. Something that was missing.
When I was talking to the architect, they said that's where it was designed, to be right behind the bowler's arm. So it's just upstairs if people are looking. And tell us about the standing area with the bars. What's going on with that? Like, that's a new thing. I haven't seen that in other stadiums. Does it work?
It's exceeded all expectations. It's something we were fortunate enough to go to the US just pre-COVID, and we did a couple of stadium tours, and it became a common theme, particularly within baseball stadiums, though, removing seats and creating standing room bays, and so that sort of gave us a clue to maybe that's something we should explore here. So it is unique to Australia to have 2,500 standing spots within a grandstand, and it's been massive success for us here this year, and long may that continue.
And it's the scoreboard is the next. When are we going to get in on the bigger scoreboard? Is there new ones coming? Let's go there.
There is. That's the intention. So thankfully, via Kardinia Park Stadium Trust, they're looking to implement a new scoreboard, which we're hopeful will be ready for the commencement of next season.
Yeah, awesome.
And what else? There's a few other things planned. What's next? I know this redevelopment's taken near on 25 years almost. I think, from Marrable Street all the way around. But what's next in the development?
Well,
phase?
at this stage, we're looking at what's the next evolution of our football facilities. So we're one of few that don't have an indoor training facility for all four of our football programs now. So we're looking to build an indoor training facility. We'd like that to be within the Cardinia Park precinct, if that's possible. But an ability to transfer the football program as and when required into an elite indoor facility. The Stage 5 redevelopment was all about creating greater flexibility here at GMHBA Stadium to attract those new major sporting events. So we need a ready-made place to go as and when they come down to the region.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's just when you got the stadium itself, it's been a lot of talented people put a lot of time and effort into building what is, I think, 340 million investment over that 25 years. It's significant. And the success of the people that have done this is fantastic. But when you look outside the stadium, you look at Geelong, and especially at Geelong CBD, and look up the hill, do you think there's learnings that could be taken and applied to the other parts of Geelong that need that sort of investment, like the CBD? Do you think, if you were giving advice to the people that were planning that sort of stuff, what would you tell them?
Yeah, well, I think it's a clear visual. To think back in the early 2000s, full credit to Frank Costa, Brian Cook, who had the foresight and the discipline and the determination to ensure the Geelong Football Club remained here at Cardinia Park. Who knows what would have transpired if they didn't stick to their fight in that respect. And that kicked off the 5 stages, $340 million over the last 20 years. So it's really having that really clear plan, that precinct plan, and being really consistent as an organisation, as a business, when you're particularly talking with government, and being consistent over a sustained period of time. I think that's where some organisations can get themselves into trouble. Their plans change depending on administration and personnel. This football club's been really consistent about this precinct in terms of what it wants and what can materialise, and I think we're starting to see the fruits of that labour of those that have gone before us now.
And have you thought about some connectivity back into the other parts of Geelong? Has that been some of the discussions you've had?
Not necessarily. We're very much focused on creating this to be a sporting, cultural, entertainment precinct. This Stage 5 entrance is clearly our number one entrance now here at our grandstand, quite deliberately designed. It's the first entry point coming off the South Geelong train station, so it's the first experience, the touch and the feel that a person from Melbourne's commuted down for a game. But also, if you're coming for a game from the CBD for Thursday, Friday night, they come down Maribel Street and into the Stage 5 Polly Farmer Gate entrance.
Yeah.
So, from a football perspective, the last 18 years has been an incredible period for the Cats. I think it's been 4 premierships, finished top 4 14 of those 18 years. How many prelims has there been? I think 11 in that period. What has been the secret?
27 final appearances since 2011. So it's something.
Yeah. So what's the secret to the success?
It's multifaceted, and I'm in awe of the football program and the leaders within it. Chris Scott, Andrew Mackey, the role Steve Hocking's played, and others that have gone before them. And another ingredient to the success of our football club is where we're based within Geelong. We have a unique proposition to play AFL men's and women's football here at Geelong. We've got close access to the coast. We've got 3 or 4 those living on a farm. They'd call themselves farmers, and they're more probably like hobby farms. They'd call themselves farmers. But the ability to have really clear outlets for whether it's golf, surfing, agriculture. We're a unique proposition, attracts a certain type of character that then knits together a unique culture that puts us in good shape to compete.
You should tell Mr Cameron that the bigger the hat, the smaller the farm.
and recruitment, like Steve Wells and Andrew Mackey keep finding them.
They do.
How do they do that?
Yeah, Stephen Wells is a remarkable character that has contributed significantly to this football club and formed a formidable relationship with Andrew Mackey. From Andrew now the lead list manager with Stephen, the national recruiter, and he travels far and wide. Sometimes I suspect incognito and identifies these diamonds in the rough and continues to surprise. And this year is a true reflection of that. With who would have thought, Sean Manor, a 26-year-old from Werribee, and the role he's playing throughout the final series, and then Lawson Humphreys, who's come out of the Waffle, and he looks like a 100-game player. He's 10 games into his.
They got one player as a first-round pick out of this entire team. That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a remarkable effort by both Stephen and Andrew and the wider list management recruitment team.
Back to Chin Chin. It was reported a 1-year trial or pop-up. Are we going to see it next year and beyond?
We would like it here to remain here forever.
Yeah.
So, as I said, it's exceeded all our expectations. The first 3 months of trading, we're basically booked out every sitting session. If that continues, that demand continues, this will be here to stay. And if it doesn't, we'll look to shake that up, and maybe it's another collaboration with one of the other Lucas Group brands that you've mentioned, with such a strong relationship with Chris and the broader Lucas Group. But for now, it's here to stay, but we need the Geelong community to continue to support it.
Well, Simon, I think you are the secret ingredient that's made Geelong as great, as long as with a lot of other people, as you pointed out. But you are one of those pieces in the puzzle. So really what you do for this club, it's well known and we think highly of it. So what you've done with Chin Chin is also pretty damn awesome. So we'd like to see more of it. So congratulations and thanks for coming on.
You're welcome here anytime.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you.
Cheers. Time for us to wrap this episode up. So I just want to thank Simon again for joining us. We wish the Cats all the best, and thanks for hosting us in Club Chin Chin. Before we go, I'd just like to thank our sponsor for this month's episode. It's Gillette. Oh, Tom over here. And again, don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear from us bozos. Otherwise, you've got a short message before we sign off.
Yeah, it was RUOK Day this week, and look, we take mental health to be something pretty serious around here and something we should all talk about and get to know more. So we've got a little bit of a message for you, and we'll throw to that. We're
in the prof studio, and we're here with the crew. Here, as always, with Gareth, and a man that we don't really let on camera all that often, but John Fitz, you generally hear the giggles behind the camera, so this is the face behind the laugh, but on Propt, we generally go hard on some issues and we make light of others. But today is an important day. We wanted to highlight the importance of RUOK Day. So, gents, I guess we want to highlight that it is okay not to be okay and to talk about it. We know that 50% of the population will suffer with some sort of mental illness over their lifetime. And, this is a day just to recognise it and talk and drop the stigma and start a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, boys, are we okay?
Well, as you know, a lot of other people know, it's been a tough year for me, and that's fine. I'm whenever you've been able to ask me those questions, I've been able to be open and vulnerable with you, and I think one of my learnings is that being vulnerable when asked that question is okay, and you've got to be brave to be vulnerable and to tell your story, but it's so much better for you if you do. Your questioning has always been empathetic, and that's also something I've learnt with this, that empathy questions are so much better than sympathy questions. No one ever wants to hear you telling me the reasons why I'm not okay or what the solutions are. You're always just happy to listen, Mike, and I really appreciate that, and thank you for that. And John, you've always been telling me how much important balance is in your life, and so that's some key things that I've learnt from this, and hopefully that we can get the message out about as well.
And Fitzy, generationally, we've probably come a long way, but...
We have come a long way, and I'm a bit older than you blokes, I think by probably about 18 months. Yeah. And we've, and I come out of an environment both corporately and in sport where it was pretty tough, and it was a sign of weakness to be, telling people that you're struggling. So I think, thankfully, all that has changed. We're a much better society. And most of us are going through something. So if you are struggling, talk to somebody. And if you see somebody struggling, ask. And I think the fact that there's not a lot of judgment now is a massive factor.
Also. Yeah. On behalf of the prop team, we'd like everybody out there to ask your mates, your colleagues, are you okay? And have a look at ruok.org.au and give us as much support as you can. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.